ALP caucus in history since Federation. A caucus brimming with capacity, talent and energy in both the House of Representatives and the Senate. I think we're up to claiming 92 seats in the House of Representatives, but in addition to that, we have the electorate of Bean, Calwell, potentially Longman as well. So we are ahead in 2 of those seats, and counting will continue. Calwell will be some time because of the nature of the candidates being close. There'll have to be a full distribution there. And in the Senate, we expect to have at least 28 senators, with additional counting taking place in Western Australia and Victoria. But we are hopeful of securing additional seats in those states as counting continues forward. As a result of that, it is an extraordinary opportunity for ministers, but for the entire caucus going forward, to put in place the agenda that we put forward positively to the Australian people, an ambitious agenda to change this country for the better. I'm deeply humbled by the trust that was put into my government with the election, and we certainly won't take it for granted. I intend to recommend to the Governor-General, Her Excellency Sam Mostyn, the following makeup of the ministry to be sworn in tomorrow at 9 a.m. It will be followed by a full ministry meeting here in Parliament House. The Cabinet will be made up of Richard Marles as Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for Defence, Penny Wong as Foreign Affairs Minister, Jim Chalmers, Treasurer, Katie Gallagher, Minister for Finance, Public Service, Women and Government Services, Don Farrell, Minister for Trade and Tourism and Special Minister of State. During the election campaign, I confirmed that all of those people would continue to fulfil their responsibilities. Tony Burke will be Minister for Home Affairs, Immigration and Citizenship, Cyber Security as well as the Arts. Mark Butler as Minister for Health and Ageing, Disability and the NDIS. Chris Bowen, Minister for Climate Change and Energy. Catherine King, Minister for Infrastructure, Transport, Regional Development and Local Government. Amanda Rishworth will be the Minister for Employment and Workplace Relations. Jason Clare, Minister for Education. Michelle Rowland will be the new Attorney-General. Tanya Plibersek, Minister for Social Services. Julie Collins, Minister for Agriculture, Fisheries and Forestry. Claire O'Neill, Minister for Housing, Homelessness as well as Minister for Cities. Madeleine King, Minister for Resources in Northern Australia. Murray Watt, Minister for Environment and Water. Melandiri McCarthy, Minister for Indigenous Australians. Annika Wells, Minister for Communications and Minister for Sport. Pat Conroy, Minister for Defence Industry and Minister for Pacific Island Affairs. Anne R. Lee comes into the Cabinet as Minister for Small Business, as also she will be the Minister for International Development and Multicultural Affairs. Tim Ayres also enters the Cabinet as Minister for Industry and Innovation and Minister for Science. In the Outer Ministry, Matt Keogh will continue as Minister for Veterans Affairs and Defence Personnel. Christy McBain, Minister for Regional Development, Local Government and Territories, and in addition she will be the Minister for Emergency Management. Andrew Giles, Minister for Skills and Training. Jenny McAllister will be the Minister for the National Disability Insurance Scheme. Dan Molino enters the ministry as the Assistant Treasurer and Financial Services. Jess Walsh, Minister for Early Childhood Education and Youth. Sam Ray, Minister for Aged Care and Seniors. In Assistant Ministers, Patrick Gorman will continue as my Assistant Minister to the Prime Minister, also Assistant Minister for the Public Service, Employment and Workplace Relations. Matt Thistlethwaite will be the Assistant Minister for Immigration, Foreign Affairs and trade. And can I say, pass on my condolences publicly to Matt. He had the funeral of his father last Friday, who died during the election campaign. It was a really difficult time when you're going through a public election campaign to lose your father. And on behalf of the Labor Party, I express my condolences to Matt and his family. Andrew Lee, the Assistant Minister for Productivity, Competition, Charities and Treasury. Jed Carney, the Assistant Minister for Social Services and Assistant Minister for Prevention of Family Violence. Emma McBride, Assistant Minister for Mental Health and Suicide Prevention and Assistant Minister for Rural and Regional Health. Senator Anthony Chisholm, Assistant Minister for Resources, Assistant Minister for Regional Development and also for Agriculture, Fisheries and Forestry. Josh Wilson, Assistant Minister for Climate Change and Energy and Assistant Minister for Emergency Management. Julian Hill, the Assistant Minister for Customs and Multicultural Affairs and Assistant Minister for International Education. Rebecca White, new Member of Parliament, comes in as the Assistant Minister for Health and Aged Care and Assistant Minister for Indigenous Health and Assistant Minister for Women. Andrew Charlton will be the Cabinet Secretary, will also serve as the Assistant Minister for Science, Technology and the Digital Economy. Senator Nita Green enters the Executive as the Assistant Minister for Northern Australia, Assistant Minister for Tourism and Assistant Minister for Pacific Island Affairs. Peter Khalil enters the Executive as the Assistant Minister for Defence. I have agreed also to appoint a number of people as special envoys. Susan Templeman will continue her work as the Special Envoy for the Arts and Luke Gosling for Defence, Veterans Affairs and Northern Australia. In addition to that, Dan Rapicoli will take up the new position as Special Envoy for Men's Health, something that he is very passionate about and something that I think he will make an extraordinary contribution in. Josh Burns becomes the Special Envoy for Social Housing and Homelessness. Marion Scrimgeour becomes the Special Envoy for Remote Communities. When I spoke to Marion, she was in a remote community in Northern Territory. Kate Thwaites is the Special Envoy for Climate Change, Adaptation and Resilience, and that will have particular tasks if we are successful in our bid to host the COP meeting in a couple of years' time, or next year's time. Tim Watts as the Special Envoy for the Indian Ocean